Hello everyone and welcome back to Very Cold Lasagna. I'm your filthy casual host, DylanLasagna, bringing you more filthy casual takes on the world of sports. And we're here with another recap of the 2022 NFL season and the slate of games that happened this past week. And I gotta be honest with you, in contrast to a very exciting week 2, full of close games and upsets, this week was, how does it go again? Oh yeah. That's pretty much how this week went for the NFL. A lot of mid games, a lot of ugly games that happened. Some of them were tightly contested defensive contests, but very ugly games for the most part. So let's get right into it. Let's get into the slate of games that happened throughout the weekend. Starting with the Thursday night football game only on Amazon Prime. You have to pay up for that shit. As the Cleveland Browns beat the Pittsburgh Steelers 29-17 in a game full of mistakes from both teams. But the Browns had big nights from Nick Chubb and Amari Cooper to pull away from this game against the Steelers. And I gotta say this about the Steelers. I think it's time for Mike Tomlin to get his head out of his ass and start rookie Kenny Pickett. Because Mitch Trubisky is playing like the Nickelodeon valuable player that he was back in 2020 when he won that damn thing. Showing the world why you were voted the first ever Nickelodeon MVP. So then we get to the Sunday morning action. The Carolina Panthers beat the New Orleans Saints 22-14 in another battle of miscues that kicked it off all Sunday long. But the Panthers capitalized on the Saints' own miscues as they held on 22-14. And I gotta say, Christian McCaffrey, looking solid and staying healthy so far. The Chicago Bears beat the Houston Texans 23-20 in a game full of defense, a whole lot of running back play, failure to execute on offense, both quarterbacks playing mid, and this kind of game having to come down to the wire on a game-winning field goal. Yeah, a lot of typical Bears football, John. That kind of game for both teams. The Indianapolis Colts with the upset of sorts, beating the Kansas City Chiefs 20-17. The Colts limited Patrick Mahomes in the pocket for much of the game. And the Chiefs special teams oddly doing very bad in this game and cost their team the game as well. But Matt Ryan, the offense, took the lead with less than 30 seconds to go. And their defense sealed the deal with an interception on Patrick Mahomes. The Miami Dolphins with the upset of the week as they beat the Buffalo Bills on the backs of their defense, limiting Josh Allen and the Bills, keeping them away from the end zone after allowing 2 initial touchdowns, but no more than that. So they made the most crucial plays as well, despite losing Tua for the rest of the first half. But he came back, and they beat them 21-19, despite a butt punt as well. So the Dolphins, making some noise early on, but we'll get to them again later. The Minnesota Vikings, they were down 10 plus points at 2 different occasions, but Kirk Cousins in the offense rallied back a second time to take the lead in the final few minutes, and then the Vikings sealed the deal, intercepting Jared Goff to beat them in the Lions 28-24. The Baltimore Ravens went up to New England to take on the Patriots. Lamar Jackson on a mission like a super technician still, with the 5 touchdown performance and 100 rushing yards, continuing to look like an improved passer as the Ravens beat the Patriots 37-26. But if you're a Patriots fan, there's a lot more to worry about than just this loss right here. So for the Cincinnati Bengals, they went up to New York to take on the Jets, and they looked like their old selves again. Joe Burrow in the offense had a bounce-back game. They scored 3 touchdowns over a Jets team. For the Jets, they fought as hard as they could, despite what the score says, but they just couldn't finish. They couldn't finish their drives, and they only amounted themselves to field goals. So they couldn't get the job done. Good news for them, though, is that they get Zach Wilson back this week. So the Cincinnati Bengals beat the Jets 27-12. The Tennessee Titans get their first win of the season as they beat the Las Vegas Raiders. I think it was like 24-21 or something. But man, I think they really should have listened to all the outside critics by using Derrick Henry more, because that's pretty much what they did before they had to survive another furious comeback and hold on to it, because at least this time they actually managed to hold on and win. So the Titans beat the Raiders to get their first win of the season. The Philadelphia Eagles went to the nation's capital to take on their NFC East rivals, the Washington Commanders, and their old quarterback, Carson Wentz, as they beat them 24-8. Another productive outing on all sides of the ball, as Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, that trio lit it up on the Commanders' non-existent defense, and the defensive line for the Eagles having a field day against Carson Wentz, sacking him 9 times. So the Eagles flying high all over the NFC East. They go 3-0 as they beat the Commanders. Going to the late afternoon action, the Jacksonville Jaguars with one of the most surprising performances on Sunday as they beat the LA Clippers 38-10, taking full advantage of an injury-depleted Chargers team with a nice showing from Trevor Lawrence, netting 4 touchdowns with poise, honestly. So the Chargers, I don't know what's going on with them, but it's only week 3 and they're clippering up, man. They are clippering up, morphing into the football Clippers. So I don't know what's going on there. Their other LA counterpart, the Rams, beat the Arizona Cardinals 20-12. The Rams defense kept Kyler Murray in check, especially in the red zone, limiting Arizona to just field goals for all their points. And they get a critical NFC West win in their first of 2 NFC West matchups. So, I mean, I guess that's kind of good there, but yeah, good for them. The Atlanta Falcons went to Seattle to take on the Seahawks. A solid win for a rebuilding team, but maybe it turned out to be a battle for the number 1 overall pick down the line. But anyway, Cordell Patterson, Kyle Pitts, and even Marcus Mariota had good, productive games as the Falcons want to shoot out, again, tanking teams over Seattle 27-23. The Green Bay Packers went to Tampa to take on the Bucs in a rematch of the 2020 NFC Championship game. And without Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Julio Jones, the Bucs offense pretty much couldn't really operate that well, despite, signing a certain receiver that got a shit ton of money in the offseason in Russell Gage. Yeah, they couldn't get anything going on that day as the Packers defense took advantage of that and maybe even found a new winning formula as their defense limited a Bucs offense, missing those key pieces as well as key people on the offensive line. But once again, Brady tried to get that signature rally going, but to no avail. So the Packers beat the Bucs 14-12, and if they meet again in the playoffs, it might be key because now they have that tiebreaker. On the Sunday night football game that did not deserve to be in prime time at all, the Denver Broncos beat my San Francisco 49ers in a very ugly, very shitty 11-10 win for them. And my God, it's not just for my 49ers, but this was just a very bad game on prime time because, sure, you could say how good both defenses look, but the offenses were just so bad. They were just so bad. Like, Russell Wilson couldn't get anything going. He was throwing it low, or he was reading things too late, holding on to the balls for too long. And you could say the same thing about Jimmy Garbagefield too. It was just, in general, a very bad game for both teams and very poorly coached. But fortunately, the Broncos put everyone out of their misery as Russell Wilson put together that one touchdown drive to beat the 49ers 11-10. And for my 49ers, you made your bed with Jimmy Garbage fail. Now you got to live with it after that shit fest. Then the Monday Night Football game, the New York Giants once again proved to be frauds as their 2-0 start was exactly that, a fraud, as they lost to the Dallas Cowboys 23-16. And yeah, the return of Danny Pennies is alive and well. And you can also blame Kenny Butterfinger's fail-a-day. And it wasted what was pretty much a okay defensive showing against a Dallas Cowboys team that was still trotting out Cooper Rush and that solid rushing attack of Ezekiel Elliott and Tony Pollard. So poor Giants fans. They had their claim to fame, and now they're back to where they are. So that was your week 3 slate of games. Now on to the winners and losers of the week. Obviously, for my winners, you got to start with the Miami Dolphins. Now, there will be some debate on whether or not how healthy Tua was going into that game. Now, if you don't recall what happened, he took this hard, nasty hit that caused him to hit the back of his helmet. And after that, he was trying to walk back to the huddle, and then he just was wobbly after that. And I don't know, he was saying it was a back injury that caused that to happen, or but it may have been a concussion. We don't know. But aside from all that, and aside the fact that the NFL is investigating this, the Dolphins quickly let him back into the game after he left to do it's probably a concussion protocol. The fact is, the offense, despite them barely being on the field and the Bills being there for over 40 minutes of the game, the Dolphins still won this game. They still found ways to win this game. They limited the Bills to just 17 points before the intentional safety. And then that was the reason for that. It was they kept them out of the red zone. And then Josh Allen made that stupid ass throw. He stuck the quicksand on that 4th and goal. And another critical play that they made was Tua's pass to Jalen Waddle, that deep pass, that caused them to take the lead. And I think it was in the second half as well. It's still early, but Miami has already made things really interesting for the AFC East and the Buffalo Bills. So, don't sleep on this Dolphins team just yet. Now, they got a Thursday night game coming up against Cincinnati, but, just be mindful. Be mindful of that Dolphins team. Another team to be mindful of is the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, with the Dolphins, it's still too early to tell if this 2-game stretch that they're on, if it's real or if it's just how bad their opponents are. But Jacksonville deserves some credit, at least some of it, in these last 2 games. Trevor Lawrence has looked really good, and whatever Doug Peterson is doing, you get him comfortable in the offense. It's showing. He looks comfortable getting out of the pocket, making better decisions than Urban Meyer ever taught him to do. And he's spreading the offense around, and his receivers are trusting him more. And that running back tandem of James Robinson and Travis Etienne slowly coming together to form a decent 1-2 punch. And on the defensive side, they're making strides as well, breaking up passes, forcing turnovers, and just in general making opposing QBs making rash decisions, and to forcing those turnovers. So you got to give credit to Doug Peterson and his staff for this solid start so far. And if they keep it up, who knows? Maybe they can be an X factor against the Colts, against the Titans, and in this AFC South race. And then the Baltimore Ravens quarterback, Lamar Jackson. These contract extension negotiations, or the lack thereof, in the offseason, man, they lit a fire in him in these first 3 weeks. Well, yes, he still does his designed runs and during games, but when he drops back to pass, he's a better thrower now. He throws faster. He makes somewhat more better decisions with the football. Yeah, he still makes a little bit weird interceptions, but still, he's a much better passer nonetheless. And man, if he keeps that going, the Ravens are gonna have to give him the bag. They won't have any more choices to do it. Now, from the biggest losers of the week, the LA Clippers. Yeah, like I said, it's happening 3 weeks early, and the annual Clippering has begun. The LA Clippers of football have already arrived. Now, sure, you could say that there are already injuries like to J.C. Jackson, who they signed in the offseason, to receiver Keenan Allen. Now, I think they lost one of their offensive linemen, their key offensive linemen for the season. And now Joey Bosa has went on short-term IR. Justin Herbert playing less than 100% after that Thursday night game a week ago. But the fact remains is they didn't put together a good game plan against the Jaguars. They looked completely unprepared to play the all-elite Jaguars. You made them look like better than WWE. Whatever. Allowing 38 points to them is embarrassing. That's absolutely embarrassing. And you're just gonna look. You absolutely look like the Clippers right now. You absolutely are the Clippers. Like, I'm sorry to say it. So I don't know what to tell you. I really don't know what to tell you. And the New England Patriots. So they more than just lost the game on Sunday, but on their last drive on offense, their quarterback Mac Jones took a hard hit while he got intercepted, and he suffered a severe high ankle sprain. He was hopping off the field, and then going into the locker room, he had to be helped into the locker room. So, not great news for Patriots fans. I don't know how many weeks he's gonna miss, and I don't even know if that's actually the prognosis he has, because apparently from what I saw on Twitter and other sports sites, they may be looking at a second opinion. But either way, still not good news for a Patriots team. Already looking mixed on offense, as they would have to turn to Brian Hoyer, their backup, for a matchup in Green Bay coming up in week 4. So, yikes. Very big yikes for this Patriots team. And, of course, my San Francisco 49ers. Yeah. Kyle Shanahan, ran Trey Lance into the ground. He gets his boy Jimmy Garoppolo back into the offense. And, sure, you could say, oh, Jimmy only had, he's only been in one game. He didn't have a training camp. He got shoulder surgery in the offseason. The dude's been there for 5 years. And he should have familiarity with this offense already. He's been with Debo. He's been with Kittle. He's been with Ayuk already. He hasn't been with the offensive line yet. But the dude, the game plan basically hasn't changed over the span of 5 years. It's still a run-first offense. Kyle Shanahan hasn't changed anything for Jimmy G. And the fact that was exposed on Sunday night against the Broncos team that was basically ready for everything that the 49ers was going to throw at them, like the Debo runs, the overall running game, and Jimmy G's going to screen pass everything. This offense is predictable. And, of course, the Dan Orlovsky moment of the game where Jimmy G just waltzed back into the end zone for a safety. Yeah. They're definitely losers. You reap what you sow of what's going to happen. You run Trey Lance to the ground. You bring back Jimmy G. You see what happens. I know it's only one game, but this is what you get. This is what you get. And you keep this going. If this happens again on Monday night against the Rams, oh boy. As if the Broncos defensive line wasn't bad enough, and now you lose Trent Williams, they're going to attack you. They're going to attack you aggressively. So, you can forget all the success you've had in the regular season against the Rams. Yeah. This is way different now. You don't have the same offensive line that you had years ago when you were dominating the Rams in Sean McVay. Nah. So we'll see what happens there. Now, as for my hurry-up game for this week, I want to talk about the Miami Dolphins and the Philadelphia Eagles, the last two unbeaten teams of the NFL. And I gotta say, I've been impressed with what they're doing so far. For the Dolphins, you look at what they've been doing and their roster, with their offense and Tua, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, and their fast defense. Their fast defense as well. And look at who they played. They played the Patriots, who were exactly doing well. They've also played the Baltimore Ravens and the Buffalo Bills. So 2 quality opponents right there, and they've won those quality games in different ways. So the Dolphins they're still finding their way. I mean, of course, everything revolves around Tua, but Mike McDaniel, whatever he's doing there, he's doing a pretty good job. As for Nick Sirianni's Philadelphia Eagles, sure, he has yet to face an actual team yet, like the Packers or the Bucks, but how he's winning these games against the Commanders, the Vikings, or the Lions. Sure, the opponent quality is not quite there yet, but how he's prepping these guys and their offense, it's still pretty good. I mean, Jalen Hurts looks like a good quarterback with better precision, better decision making. Devontae Smith and AJ Brown, and of course the quality of receivers is almost near Miami's. Sure, they don't have this as much speed with Tyreek Hill's speed, but the Eagles are to be feared as well, and they got a defense to back it up too. That defense got 9 sacks on Carson Wentz, and Darius Slay is leading a scary good secondary as well. So who knows what's in store for both of these teams for the rest of the season. And looking at the rest of their season, the next couple of games, I mean, we don't know what to expect. I mean, any given Sunday is always the term that we use here, but it could be a real interesting one if they continue to keep it up. If they really continue to keep things up. So that's how it is for both of those teams. And that's it for my recap for week 3 of the 2022 season. So what are your thoughts on this third week of this season? Let me know your thoughts. Did you get any of your picks right? I probably didn't either, but let me know what are your thoughts on this slate of games for week 3, and stay tuned for my picks for week 4, my preview for that this coming week, very soon here on Very Cold Lasagna. So this is DylanLasagna signing out, and until next time, keep those lasagnas very cold in the fridge with all those filthy casual takes on the world of sports. Of course, filthy casual. And until next time, peace out.